All right. Yes. What is happening? Welcome to the 3rd out of 12th episode of the Remember the Mission deep dive, where we go deep into this, into this book to look at insights and implementations of how we can make this book work for us. Okay. So we're going to go into the next chapter. The next chapter is expectations versus current conditioning. And it is a long chapter, so we're going to break it into 2. This is going to be part 1, and then OBS next Monday will be part 2. I'm doing it today. I was meant to be doing this tomorrow at 1 o'clock, but I'm running a seminar, a workshop. So we're just doing it here, and you'll be able to catch up. All right. So let's get in. This will also be up on the podcast. Remember the Mission. So if you want to listen back, you can also listen back on the podcast. Just go to Apple or Spotify. Remember the Mission. And my ugly mug should come up with the podcast. All right, so we're going to go through this. So far, we've gone through the untold truth, which is confrontation of ourselves. And then we talked about the 1% rule, recognizing wins, being able to develop and build on those wins. Okay, so we're going to go into understanding much more about expectations versus current conditioning. Okay, and if you're just joining us, like I say, we were meant to do this tomorrow at 1, but I overlooked the fact that I had a mentor session for the day in London with all my private members. Cool, so let's get on. Using your alter ego. It's important to understand that should we start again? It's important to understand what I mean visually and emotionally when I say remember the mission. If you are going to embrace this ethos, I want to give you some context behind the words to help you understand the process. Okay, makes sense. You may have seen the films, pictures, or books, images of special forces soldiers all kitted up, looking professional and ready for action. My personal vision of an elite operator is the image of a special forces soldier, ready to go into battle, pretty much like I was before going on patrol in Afghanistan. It kind of paints the picture. Okay, you don't have to be in the military to have this vision. There are numerous films in which you see these character types. As explained in the earlier chapters, it's just an example, an image or a vision which my alter ego can really leverage and relate to when I need to step up each day. Okay. When I operate in my day-to-day life, I regularly check in with my elite operator, which is our alter ego, to ensure that I implement this state of mind and the standards associated with it when required. So whenever I've come up against hardship or adversity, I straight away go straight back to that Sergeant James Borman identity. Now, I haven't talked about the journey part of the book here, which is like 40 pages long, but when I was a sergeant in the Royal Marines, physical training instructor, trained sniper and sniper training instructor, there is an awful lot of confidence in and amongst that identity. So when I need to step up, I almost go to that green zone. I call it the green zone. It's kind of like what I relate to. And anyone that's been in the military will probably understand what I'm talking about, but it's going to that place of pure confidence, ready to show up and overcome anything that comes their way. Okay, so examples of this could be getting up straight away when my alarm goes off at 4:15 and refusing to snooze, following my disciplined morning structure and not getting distracted, showing up when it's work time rather than focusing on things that don't matter, showing up when it's dad time and not being on my phone, having the discipline between work and life balance. Okay. When I get a punch in the face from life, such as a major issue at work, and on reflection, there are really no major issues with work because that should not define our life, right? Or a car breaking down or the kids driving me mental, the real life scenarios, I switch to that elite operator green zone mindset and handle the situation. The way I put things into perspective is by remembering the mission and remembering what I'm trying to achieve long term. This allows me not fall inside of the self-pity bubble or the victim mentality when things are hard and it feels like an uphill battle. That mentality costs so much of us and so much of our time and our energy on our journeys. We get so consumed in that pity party and we trade it for time. We trade staying in a pity party for time, and we procrastinate because, oh, I'm not in a great place, or, you know, I've gone through this little micro trauma here where my tires burst, or something else has happened, or you've had to replace your boiler, and that stops you on your tracks, right? And it's being able to not waste time and still show up to do what is required to achieve the mission, no matter how you feel. And I think that's a real power. Over the years, I've built up coping mechanisms to be able to handle the hardships that life delivers, and to be able to control the situation much more effectively by always coming back to my mission. It always offers perspective on the situation and gives me clarity about what's happening in life right in front of me. My mission becomes my recalibration that centers me for what I'm about to achieve. It really helps to put into perspective the external factors of the life. So what we're talking about here is building up a character trait, an alter ego that we can fall back on, so that when the shit hits the fan, we can click our fingers, flick the switch, and we go into action. We know exactly what it is that we're trying to achieve. Now that takes time to train, build, and condition, which is why a lot of people come and work with us on our programs, because that's what we help men do. We help them self-master themselves to go out there and achieve the mission, right? And that alter ego becomes an internal power, because you have two voices inside of your head. You have the chimp mode, and then your elite operator mode. And we're looking for that self-mastery elite operator mode that we visualize, and it could be the thing that drives us and powers us forward to achieve our mission, rather than being in the pit of self-pity. Okay, Gary, how's it going? Okay, so falling back on your mission. The coping mechanisms I've developed over the years are a direct response to me being clear on my mission in life and connecting with that alter ego state of mind to the mission. Over time, this process almost becomes an automatic response. After conditioning myself to handle those issues, problems, curveballs, and the adversities of life, this isn't always foolproof plan, but what plan system ever is? We are only human after all, and we live in a reality where there are so many uncertainties with a chaotic world. We unfortunately don't live in a world of straightforward successes that take us from A to B without incident or distraction, and that's just the reality of the life. You know, there is no straight path to success. You can't just go from A to B and think it's going to be successful. There are going to be curveballs. There are going to be incidences that challenge us. There are going to be things that slow down our progress. But recognizing the bigger picture is what we always fall back on, right? And the bigger picture is the mission, is the purpose, is the direction, is what we're doing to embrace life, right? And that's the thing that I'm trying to get across here in this book. Just like I do, you will always have bad days from time to time. Those days when nothing works out the way you planned, or those days when nothing flows the way you want it to. There will be times when you feel like you aren't good enough, which is a situation that could easily get the better of you. Or you might just have woken up and found out that the world is against you from the off, okay? And that is a pity party, I'm telling you. The idea of the Remember the Mission ethos is to bring you back from those bad days, to realign you to your center, your path, your purpose. It's to stop a bad day becoming a bad week or a bad month or even a bad year. Remembering the mission reminds you that one bad day does not define you. And that is a really important message, right? One bad day does not define you. Okay, one bad day is just a micro element of your life and mission, and a few bad days won't dent that mission. So it's okay to have those bad days. It takes the pressure off us, okay? Remember the mission becomes your path and process. Implementing your mission day by day with clear direction, like an elite operator. Implementing this ethos is what will get you up the next morning ready to go again. It's what will ignite the fire, the emotional connection, the desire and drive to go again. Hungry to see how far you can push yourself with no dwelling thoughts of what happened yesterday. Yesterday is done. Today and tomorrow is the mission. I call this the bounce back ability mindset. So this is the ability to bounce back from adversity, from curveballs that you might get caught up, that might keep you in that state of mind for the rest of the week where you sulk, okay? And the bounce back ability is the non-negotiable inside of your brain that says, no, I will not tolerate me staying in this state of mind for too long because it would just hold me back. And it takes time, courage, conviction to be able to break through. Sharpening the tools. When I personally have a bad day and I'm facing levels of adversity, I often go visual, imagining I'm on a mission again, either in training or serving in Afghan. I go to what I call the green zone. There we go. It's a bit Chad, but it works for me and for many of the guys I coach. I visualize myself with my green beret on again, Royal Marine Commando flashes on show, and I'm instantly transformed into that confident identity I carried as a Royal Marine Commando. So that is just really clarifying what I was talking about earlier, right? The alter ego is going back to that basics. That feeling of confidence and being unbreakable is what brings me back to my best self whenever I feel vulnerable, low on confidence, or feel that I'm slipping into a victim mentality. That's when I feel that I 10x my approach to life, dealing with adversity and problem solving. Being in the mental and emotional state raises my ability to my best self and sets off the fire inside to come out on top. And that's what we're trying to get through to men. That is what we're trying to get through to men. We're trying to break through the way that men think, the way that they act. We're trying to set the standard. Okay, so I'm giving examples here of what I guess I go through and the things that I do, but I use those examples to show you what is possible, and I think that's important. I was switched on. I was switched on most in life when I was on a mission in the military, whether that was training exercise or doing the real thing when patrolling in Afghan. When I say switched on, I mean that the levels of focus and awareness, forward thinking, planning and structure were at their highest. I was at the top of my game and mentally sharp. As you haven't all been in the military, naturally it will be hard to understand or visualize this, but I'll share with you the way I taught my coaching members how to approach this. I want you to think about a war film that you've watched or read about. Think about the one character in that film or book who really stood out, the way he operated, the way he handled himself, the way he thought, and the action he took. Okay, so it's important to have that inside of your head. Your confident identity. He was clearly the guy everyone would love to be. When faced with a tough decision, he quite often would be the guy you'd ask yourself, what would he do? Okay, and I often say this to the clients. He was always in control, calm and clear on what he was doing. He would make a decision and action it with full commitment. Sure, he was a fictional character, but so is your alter ego. Does the elite operator come to mind? It's not so much the image, but the character shown and the attitude to getting things done. So what we're trying to do here is trying to, again, build confidence through this alter ego, right? So we're building this character up. We're building this visualization up of this person, how confident he is. And if we think of someone like Maverick from the Top Gun, right? As Chad as it is, he's the guy you would want to have your back, right? With that confidence in his own skills. And we almost want to have that in our own lives in the way that we deal with everyday situation. Okay, if that makes sense. I hope this makes sense. Otherwise, I sound like a real dick. I realise this probably sounds like a Call of Duty game where you are creating your own avatar. But what I'm trying to do is to create a vision or image with emotion, a state of mind and attitude, a character that is going to help you achieve your mission. So in some ways, you are creating a character that is going to help you show up to that mission. And with that character will come principles and values that would carry you through the process. Okay. So for so long, you've been guided by your chimp, ego and impulse, making you mostly reactive rather than proactive. But there has to be a counter to the way that you are thinking and acting on the chimp side. If you can embrace and adapt this alter ego that fills you with confidence and that makes you feel focused and unbreakable, then it's going to help you achieve your mission when things get tough. And they will get tough. So we're almost creating an opposition to our chimp, because our chimp, our monkey mind, when we start talking in terms of chimp mindset, in terms of that parallel, we need to have another chat inside of our brain that becomes just as strong as that chimp. And that alter ego that we build of ourselves, that we're building that vision of, that character that it has, we need him to awaken. We need him to wake up as soon as the chimp's kicking off. So like, I'm losing my temper here. And then your alter ego is like bringing sense and calmness to the situation. So it's like this battle going on in your head. And that is what's the difference is between staying on your game, seeing the bigger picture, and having the self-awareness to continuously keep showing up. Win the war, not all the battles. We obviously are not going to war, but your life can sometimes feel like that. Relationships, dramas, work, dilemmas, self-sabotage, setbacks, all attack your mind and emotions in your everyday life. These are the battles you must win, but you need to be in the right mindset to do so. Otherwise, you become an army without the weapons to fight back. Imagine the rest of your life being a war, and the day-to-day activities of your life as the various battles in that conflict. Each battle won takes you a step closer to winning the war. And the mission is about winning the war. Not every battle can be won, but if you don't show up and fight, let me start that again. But if you don't show up to fight back after losing a battle, then you have no chance of winning the war. Okay, so if you look at each individual day as like a micro battle to achieving that bigger mission, and every single day you've got to keep fighting, you've got to keep going. Some days you may lose the battle, but the next day you've got to wake up and go, right, we're back to it. That becomes that mentality. It becomes an unbreakable mentality, right? Unstoppable. There are 4 pillars to win at, which I talk about in depth in my first book, It's a State of Mind. They are health, relationships, personal development, and business. And we've actually added one more to that, which is fun. By creating your mission, you are forming your why, your purpose to show up. The mission will help you create the identity you long for and to discover your potential. So the sky really is the limit. Okay, but if you slack on your mission, you'll lose your battles and slowly lose the war. And that is not the path you want. It results in unhappiness, stress, unfulfillment, frustration, and bad habits. That's not what we're striving for. So let's look at now the next phase, which is passion to the mission. Okay, so if we want to succeed in our mission, we have to find that passion. Okay, let's have a look here. The official meaning of passion is strong and barely controllable emotion, all right? And the key word here is emotion. I found that one of the biggest factors that men are missing in their lives is the lack of positive passion being shown. If you observe the actions of men, and I have done this with thousands of men coming through my world, you could argue that the only things men are passionate about are self-sabotage, being miserable, football, and sex. With the first two, I'm being slightly sarcastic, but a lot of men do seem to just continuously sabotage themselves and stay in a miserable state. I want you to imagine waking up in the morning and feeling passionate about attacking your day. I mean, really feeling passionate about attacking that day. And I mean, really ready to get into the day. Imagine getting to Sunday night and being fired up for the week rather than dealing with the dread that's ahead of you. Many people create missions for their lives, but they are weak missions. They don't emotionally stimulate them. So it comes to showing up when the chips are down. They have no emotional drive to get them over the line. Motivation is not a permanent emotion. You can't always be motivated. Like happiness or sadness, it comes and goes. And when it goes, you're left hanging with no deeper passion to leverage your action on. So finding meaning and emotion in your actions is much more powerful than motivation. And connecting yourself to a passionate mission means that you are 10 times more likely to show up. So I think the key thing here is that over time, passion will grow. You know, you might not necessarily know what your long-term mission is immediately. It's one of those things that we have to unpack, we have to unravel, and through the process and through the journey, we build passion to it. Like, I've come to be really passionate about my job. I love the stories that we hear of guys succeeding. I love the fact that we get up and I just get to watch the sunrise come up, or I'm walking down a road at 4:30 in the morning and it's only me. There's lots of little aspects that I feel really passionate about with life. And it makes me feel like, oh man, at least I'm not just staying in bed, like crumbling away. But that passion I didn't wake up one morning and go, I'm fucking passionate about getting up and getting after it. You know, it was a slog, but you build a relationship, and like any relationship that you build a passion to it, right? When you meet a girl or a boy for the first time, you start off by liking them, but then it becomes passion. Like you naturally form passion on a successful relationship. And that's what we're trying to do, is trying to build a relationship with a mission that makes us feel emotionally connected to wanting to show up, okay? That spark of emotion. I want you to remember how you felt when you met, it's like I've written this book. I want you to remember how you felt when you met that one girl or guy you were crazy about. Think about when you first met them. It sent an electrical shot through your body and you were digging out on the dates. And when you kissed for the first time, it was chemistry. It's like a love novel. That's passion. That's what it feels like. You completely immerse yourself emotionally in something. You find new heights when you have emotion. New levels of action are found and barriers are broken with passion. Now take those feelings of excitement, passion, and desire and create a mission that recreates those feelings. And remember the connection to the mission. Visualize that. Visualize the mission, the process, the feeling of success at the end. You can then start with the end in mind and connect to that spark. Each day through your morning routine, journaling, general process, review and reflection, this keeps you constantly aligned to the mission and the passion to achieve it. So staying connected is so important to the mission. And I'm always talking about this with my clients who I coach. It's like every single day, you must remind yourself of what your 28-day mission is. What's your 5-year mission? What is your 1-year mission? What is your 12-week mission? And everybody's at different chapters and different stages. So some people who just come in will be focusing on week by week. Some will be focusing on 12 weeks. Some will be focusing on the bigger picture. But ultimately, staying connected to the bigger picture is so important, guys. Because if you didn't stay connected with your wife in that relationship, you drift apart, right? So that shows you the power of staying connected. When you don't feel like showing up, when you've had a bad day or feel overwhelmed, or are struggling for confidence, you have to remember the mission and what you are trying to achieve. Why you are not showing up right now is because there is no passion to your mission. There might not even be a mission. Oh, wow. I just said that off my head and it's what I wrote. I've seen football supporters showing more passion for their team to win than they do about their own lives. Okay, it's mental how passionate football supporters get. Imagine being that passionate about your own life. Like when the greatest football team on the planet, Arsenal, score their goal and win the league eventually. How passionate those Arsenal supporters are. And I wonder how many of them put those levels of passion into themselves. Okay, constant reminders. Okay, couple of pages, guys. It's really easy to forget what the mission is. You can write a whole bunch of outcomes that you want to achieve, lay out your plans and your path, and that will feel pretty awesome. You'll feel accomplished, like you are doing something with your life, as though you are making progress and gaining clarity about your development as a man. More control, more consistency, and more clarity, the 3 C's. A week later, you could easily forget all of those well laid out plans. I've seen it happen over and over again, and it's the biggest fucking frustration for me as a coach, mentor. Instead of the mission and it's over and over again, instead of the mission and plan having any meaning, it just becomes more lost promises and words buried and lost in the chaos of life. It's a common pattern for many men and one I've experienced myself. I truly believe it's because you forget why you are showing up in the first place. And that's that level of self-mastery and self-awareness. We just forget, like, what is the mission? What am I trying to do this for? Why am I trying to get to, right? And it's important to remember that. I talked a few paragraphs back about constantly aligning yourself to your mission, being aware of what's at stake if you don't show up, and the consequences of not fulfilling your mission. You just can't afford to put yourself on the back burner. People are depending on you. Think about when you go shopping. You are convinced you'll remember everything you need, but there are so many distractions along the way, you just forget. And if you arrive without a shopping list, you end up wandering around the supermarket full of products while your mind is trying to visualize your kitchen cupboards, desperately trying to remember what you have and don't have, okay? Which is why your wife is much better at shopping than you. Okay, but if you go to the shop with a list and keep referring to it, you have constant and clear reminders about what needs to be bought. Okay, can you see the connection there? So constantly looking at the list, I know what I need to do. I just got to go and find it. If I had my mission in my hand, I knew what the mission was. I just need to make sure my actions align to it. No mission on the paper. Where the fuck is my life going? Okay. This scenario highlights the need not only for constant reminders, but to be well prepared and realize that we can't keep everything in our heads. Without constant reminders, you will forget, slowly disconnect from your mission and slip back into old ways. It's easy to forget though through the daily chaos and the distractions of life, and that's why I like to journal. To help bring me back to path, I also connect to it in the morning routine, transition procedure, and in my daily reviews and reflections. Just like the shopping list, it helps me to review and focus my time and energy on connecting with the mission, making it a permanent fixture in my life, in my mindset, making it a constant thought and ensuring that I'm not drifting from the path I've chosen. And that's what I want for you. The journal, routines, and planning become the shopping list for me to refer back to. Rather than keeping everything in my head or letting it drift, I first introduced these concepts in my earlier book, It's a State of Mind, and it's vital to understand the importance of these rituals. So basically what we're giving here is clear indicators of performing, of remembering, of creating the shopping list, i.e. writing down your mission so that you can connect with that mission. And every single morning, as part of your morning routine, you connect with it so that it sets the tone for the rest of your day, week, month, quarter, year. And you just stay connected to that mission and what you're trying to achieve. And it becomes the blueprint and the Bible for you being successful. Okay, guys? So that's halfway through the chapter. So there's quite a lot there. And I feel like my reading has been that of my 7-year-old because it is actually 4:15 and my brain is fried. And I wanted to get that in before the weekend so that you had all 3 to listen back to. So I think there's a lot to take away there. As you can see, the book is slowly progressing us through the process. And what we will do on Monday at 1 o'clock is go through the second part of that chapter and finishing that off and topping it up. All right, guys. Big old week. So I'm off to London tomorrow to do my workshop with my Top 1% Club, which is my private members course. And we'll be implementing some of this as well, like face-to-face, which will be powerful. Remember, dates, 22nd of May is our masterclass. Registration will open on Monday. 5-day challenge starts on the 3rd of June. And our Remember the Mission blueprint, 90-day blueprint, starts on the 17th of June. So there's lots coming your way. Bye, I'm shattered. That is me done for the day. Have a great day, great evening, great weekend, and I'll see you ready to go.